Alright, how's it going everyone? So I'm sure you've heard people say that if you want to draw basically anything, you should use boxes, and that's true. But when it comes to drawing boxes, there are a couple rules you have to abide by, and I usually don't hear people mention those when it comes to drawing boxes. So that's what we'll be going over in this video, as well as how you can use them. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so through Patreon or YouTube memberships, which are both linked in the description, and there's also a Discord server linked in the description, which you can join if you want to get advice from other artists, including me, or you just want to hang out with other artists. But yeah, let's get started. There are two main rules you need to be aware of when it comes to drawing boxes. Rule 1 is that the lines of the box that are parallel to the horizon line, in this case we have one set of parallel lines, which is going that way, and then another set of parallel lines, which is going this way. So these sets of parallel lines have to converge to vanishing points that are on the horizon line. Rule 2 is that the verticals of the box, in which case, let me use a different color for that. So in this case, that's a vertical line. That needs to be perpendicular to the horizon line, so it needs to make a 90-degree angle with it. The commonality between both of these rules is the horizon line, so you need to know what that is first, and I'll give a quick rundown of it. Every drawing is taken from the perspective of a viewer's eyes or a camera lens. If a person is standing over here and they're looking at this, we need to first look at our viewer's field of view. So this is a person, and human field of vision is around 60 degrees. I'm not sure if this is exactly 60 degrees, but it looks close enough. So 60 degrees is their field of vision, which means when they're looking at this person, this is all they'll be able to see. Everything below this point is kind of invisible to them. If we say that our paper covers our entire field of view, then this paper would of course be our field of view, and then the image that we're seeing would look somewhat like this. As you can see, their head is right around there, which is slightly above the middle of the paper, and then the image cuts off right around there, which is somewhere around there. Now the horizon line, or eye level as some people call it, is at the height of the viewer's eyes. This is our viewer, these are their eyes, and then if we draw a horizontal line from their eyes, it looks like that, and that's known as the horizon line. So this horizon line is exactly in the middle of our field of view. It might not look like it's directly in the middle of it because I'm an idiot and the drawing is not exactly accurate, but it's always directly in the middle of the field of view. And seeing as how this paper is our field of view, it should be exactly in the middle of it, which is right around there. And then as you can see in our example that I drew over here, it intersects with her head right around there, which should be over there, but like I said, my drawing is not exactly accurate. I'd have to make this a bit smaller, somewhat like that, and then it'd be more accurate to what this person is seeing. Now there are scenarios where the horizon line is not exactly in the middle of the page, and one of those is when you're looking up at something. So if we say the camera is super low to the ground and it's looking up, in this case, the camera's field of view extends upwards like that, but because the horizon line is at the height of the camera's lens, in this case, the horizon line would still be down here. It's a horizontal line extending from the height of the camera's lens, so it's not going that way. And if you were to draw that shot from the camera's perspective, it would look like this. So now that we know what the horizon line is, the reason why it's important is because every line that's parallel to the horizon line will converge to a vanishing point on the horizon line. Bringing it back to rule 1, the lines of the box that are parallel to the horizon need to converge to vanishing points on the horizon line. So to draw a correct box, you've got two options. You can start with the horizon line and then place your vanishing points and draw the box accordingly, or you can start with a box and then follow the parallel lines to their vanishing points and then draw a horizon line between those points. To give you an example of what things look like if you don't follow this rule, here are a couple boxes where the parallel lines are not properly converging to the same points. Now the second rule is that the verticals of the box need to be perpendicular to the horizon line. This rule is why you should probably start with the horizon line first, then draw the vanishing points and then draw the box, because as long as the horizon line is there, you can very easily make the verticals of the box perpendicular. If you start with the box, you could end up with a mistake like this where your vanishing points points create a horizon line like this, and then the box will appear slanted. As long as you're following those rules, you'll be able to create perspective accurate boxes. And if you're wondering, if a box is tilted, the vanishing points will create a tilted horizon line, and the verticals need to be perpendicular to that horizon line. Now that we know how boxes work, we need to think about how to use them to actually draw stuff. What makes boxes so useful is, for one, the fact that there's no ambiguity about their perspective. You can very easily tell when it's wrong, and secondly, they have very clear plane transitions. Plane transitions are important for making something three-dimensional, because if it only has one plane, it's two-dimensional, and then as soon as you add those extra planes, it becomes three-dimensional. Every single object in the world has those additional planes, even though sometimes it may be kind of hard to identify where those planes are, like on a glass, for example. People think that because it's a cylinder, it has no planes, but it does. Now, the problem with boxes is that they don't always perfectly fit the shape that we need. A good example is the human torso. While it is possible to simplify the ribcage and pelvis to boxes like this, as soon as the torso starts moving, it becomes a lot harder to make those boxes line up. To draw the body with boxes, you need to divide it into multiple parts. We've got the head, ribcage, and pelvis, the upper arm, upper leg, and lower leg, and then the hands and feet. The reason why we split it like this is because these are the parts of the body that can't move. The movement happens at the joints between those parts, like at the elbow, for example. These parts can always be simplified into boxes, so look for landmarks like the aces points on the pelvis that will always be in the same spots in relation to other landmarks, no matter the orientation of the pelvis, and use those to figure out the perspective of the box. When you're looking for landmarks, with the ribcage, you do need to be careful of the fact that the shoulders can move independently, meaning they can move without the ribcage moving. A pose like this actually shows that pretty well. The shoulders have this horizontal angle between them, but then if we look down here, we can see that this has a diagonal angle. The misleading part here is this shoulder. It's being moved up because it has to support her weight. The rib cage in this case is still at an angle. You can use side views and front views to figure out where all of the landmarks are, and once you've identified them, you can simplify the forms to boxes. Once you've drawn the body in boxes, technically that's only step one, because now you need to study how to draw the actual body, but at least now you can draw it in perspective. There's one more thing I want to point out. People often use cylinders to draw the arms and legs instead of boxes because cylinders are closer in terms of shape to the arms and legs than boxes. But like I said earlier on, even cylinders can be divided into multiple planes like a box. So if you're going to use cylinders, just be aware of where those plane transitions actually are. And that's all I wanted to talk about, so if that was helpful, be sure to leave a like on the video. You can tell me in the comments what else you want to see next. Also, don't forget you can support the channel through Patreon and YouTube memberships, which are in the description, and you can also join our Discord server. But that's it, so I guess I'll see you all in the next video.